Hello guys and welcome back to a new video here at Architects 3DP. Today I'm bringing you a new unboxing, assembly and review. But this time we're not having a look to a 3D printer as always. Don't worry, because you are going to discover in a few moments this really cool device. This machine that we are going to review has been sent by Hekka, who made this video possible.
Hekka is a website that is basically a huge online store with many authorized cool stuff from different brands, such as Xiaomi, Lenovo, OnePlus, Redmi, etc. They sell all kinds of products from fashion to home products, such as smartphones, earphones, photo printers, projectors, etc. Here at the top left of their website, you'll find these big blocks of products, including fashion and electronics, but if you click here in this list, you'll navigate to this submenu where we'll find our preferred category, 3D printer and supplies. Here you can buy many products, such as this great TwoTrees TT-5.5S 40 watts laser engraver that we're going to review today, guys, and I'm sure you're going to love it. If you want to buy this device or any other product from Hekka, use the code ARCHITECTS10 to get a $10 discount for an order over $49. You'll also find the links to their store down in the description. Alright, so the machine comes inside this quite small box, and when we open it, we find two more boxes inside. I'm going to start by opening the small one. Here we'll find the power connector, in my case with the EU plug. The next will be the laser itself, which comes very well protected, as you can see. I'm going to remove all the protective films, and as you can see, it comes with a magnetic cover that I guess protects your eyes. And the laser module includes a 40mm fan that I guess will keep the temperatures under control. The last thing inside this small box is gonna be this 3D printed bracket and what looks like the calibration tower of the laser. So I'm gonna put all this aside and I'm going to go with the big box.
Well guys, so continuing with this box, the truth is that I have already unboxed and assembled the laser engraver, and I had a problem with the memory card and I lost all the footage, more than 5 hours. So here I am again, assembling everything one more time. As you can see, here I have all the testings I did before I disassembled everything and put it back in the box.
So continuing with the unboxing, the first we'll find is a USB-A to USB-B cable. Next we'll find the, let's call it laser carry, that as you can see I have right here already assembled with the belt tensioner from the previous build. It is pretty easy to assemble, so don't worry. As you can see, we'll be able to regulate the height to put the laser in focus, but we'll have a look at it later on. The tensioner is very simple, and I will show you later how it works. Next we'll find these 4 injection molded feet that are going to hold the structure nice and stable. Then we'll have a metal component that will be used to keep all the cables in place. Next, we'll find a bag with tools, including, as you can see, some zip ties. Notice that I already used some of them in the first build I did. We'll also find what looks like a wooden phone stand that we'll use to engrave our logo later on. Also all kinds of tools used for the build, such as wrenches and Allen keys. Here was the microSD card included with the machine, as well as the USB adapter. Next we'll find all the necessary bolts for the build, well packed and labeled as you can see. We have M5x10s, M4x20s, M4x45s, M5x20s and M3x8s. Next we'll find another metallic component to hold the cables. And finally we go to the brain of the machine, that as you can see has a power connector, USB socket, the power switch and the microSD card slot. It comes with all the cables already connected, so I'm going to put it aside for later. Next we'll find a pair of protective goggles. Remember that the lasers can hurt your eyes, so please be careful when you use this machine. Next, we start finding extruded aluminium profiles. This one has a cable that goes through. The next one has a kind of ruler printed on it, and has a pre-installed device with 2 motors, that I guess are gonna be the X and Y axis of the laser engraver. Next, another profile with another device. I guess it's gonna be the Y axis for the other side. Finally, we'll have 2 more profiles with the numbers printed on it. The main difference is that one has holes on it and the other one does not. You'll have to be careful with it with the assembly to do it properly. The last thing we'll find in the box are going to be the assembly instructions that we are going to follow to start with the build, and more paperwork that we're not really using. The product manual, as you can see, comes in full color, with very detailed info and actual photos of the printer so you won't mess it up. I'm going to put it here and start with the build, guys.
But before starting with the assembly, I'm going to introduce our video sponsor, that cannot be other than PCBWay. PCBWay offers affordable and high-quality 3D printing, CNC machining, and PCB assembly services with fast delivery worldwide. PCBWay is the one-stop solution for all your product needs. Since they offer all kinds of services, 3D printing, CNC machining, injection molding, sheet metal fabrication, and more. Their CNC machining service in particular has pretty advanced customability, with plenty of materials to choose from and specifications to fine-tune your product to exactly match your design. They are currently offering some discounts in 3D printing and CNC machining, and also for new clients, so don't miss this opportunity and go check them out through the link in the description.
Alright, so back to the assembly, we'll take these two profiles with the numbers facing to the interior. The profile with the holes will be next to you, since it's gonna be the front of the machine. And the one without will go far from you. Next, we'll pick up the two profiles with the devices on them. We'll prepare them with the rollers facing to the interior. The one with two motors will go on your left-hand side, and the one with only one motor on your right-hand side. To assemble them, we'll need the M5x20mm bolts, actually 4 of them, and we'll pick up an Allen key to install them in place. They'll go on the 4 ends as you can see. Remember that you don't have to tighten the bolts the first time you insert them, since we'll do that once all 4 are inserted. Here you can have a closer look to how this union works. And finally, we'll go for the last corner. Once we have all 4 aligned, the structure, as you can see, is quite stable. And the next thing we're gonna do is to make sure that the profiles are perfectly aligned. And once done, we'll tighten all 4 corners. Once done, we're going to install the 4 feet, for what we'll need 4 M5x10mm bolts. The bolt is gonna be installed here, and will go in place just like that. This time we can straight tighten them. Once we have all 4 corners in place, we'll be able to move the axis and the structure is perfectly robust. Now we'll need the M5x20mm bolts. And all 4 will be inserted in place just like that, tightening them directly all the way through. Alright, so once all feet are installed, the next thing we're going to do is to check out if the V-slot wheels are tightened properly. If they are not, we'll tighten the bolts right here using the provided wrench. Next step, we're going to pick up the extruded aluminum profile that has cables on it. And we're going to present it in place just like so. The white black will go on the side with one stepper motor and the black one in the side with 2 motors. Now we'll insert the carry in place, and the tensioner will go here on the other side. I'm gonna rotate the structure so you'll get a more first-person view of the build. Now the profile with the holes will be facing you, so we'll need to insert the carry just like that. Be careful with the cable, and here we go. The part with threaded rods has to face the profile with the holes. Next, we'll kind of put everything in place. Starting with the belt, we'll insert it right here, so the X-axis motor will be ready to move it. Then we'll run the teaming belt just like so through the sides of the profile. Here we go. If we go to the other side, we'll need to disassemble the tensioner, put this pulley in place, and now assemble it back, being the last step to insert the tensioning bolt back in place. Once we have it, we'll use the M4x20mm bolts to attach the tensioner to the profile. We'll use 2 of the bolts that will go, as you can see, right here on top. Next, we'll need the M4x45mm bolts to attach the tensioner itself to the frame of the machine. And that's the next we're going to do. We'll insert these long bolts from the bottom, as you can see here. I'm actually going to turn it around so you can watch it better. Once in place, we'll go to the other side. And we'll insert the other 2 long bolts in place, as you can see. You have to tighten them all the way through. Once done, we'll turn it around one more time, and as you can see, here we have a properly moving Y-axis as well as an X-axis. Last step will be to tighten the tensioner in order to put some tension on the teaming belt. Next step that I'm gonna do, and it's not in the manual, is gonna be to properly align the belt in the gap of the V-slot profile. As you can see, it is not perfectly centered. So I'm gonna move the pulley installed on the motor a little bit down, and tighten everything back in place one more time. The last component we'll need to attach to the assembly is going to be, how not, the laser module. Before installing it, we're gonna bring this mechanism all the way up. And now yes, we'll be able to attach the laser module in place using the 4 small balls included in the box. Here, one more time, you'll make sure that all the wheels are properly tightened, and if not, you'll need to tighten them with the included wrench. Next step will be to install all these little cable holding devices, starting with this one using the provided bolts. Once done, we'll need to attach the 3D printed holder right here in the front of the printer, as well as the other metallic cable holder, and tighten everything in place. Once done, we'll put the calibrated device on its spot. And I think that's the last component. We're going to install the control module right here on the front of the structure. Next, we'll use the provided zip ties to attach the cable tubes to the holders just like so. We'll start with this one on the front. And once we have it, we'll cut the excess of the zip ties just like so. We'll repeat the same process here, this time with 2 cable pipes. And finally here, in the laser module, one more time, attaching it with zip ties and cutting the excess. It is quite tricky to do, but think that you will only need to do this once and it will stay forever. Okay guys, so at this point, as you can see, the cables go out from the control box right here, then come to this point, then go to the side, and finally they go to the center of the printer where the laser module is. But right now all the cables are disconnected, and we are now going to connect all of them, starting for the laser module. Next, we'll connect the 2 Y-axis motors. That's 1. And 2. Then we'll connect this cable extender for the Y-axis motor, then the X-axis motor here at the back, and here we go. We left the cable right here that we'll try to address later on, but overall, here we have our laser engraver completely built. As you can see, every axis moves in its direction. And the last thing we need to do is to connect it and click the on switch.
Alright, so we have finished the build of this laser engraver, guys. Now we're gonna check out how it actually works.
I've moved it here to my desk, just in case we mess up anything on the white table. As you can see, the laser can move perfectly in every direction. Now I'm going to use it to engrave our logo in this wooden foam stand that was included in the box. As you can see, here I have the wood I used for the first stairs the first time I assembled the laser engraver. The power was set to max, and I perforated the wooden sheet as well as the table. Luckily, I moved it to this working desk. This time, I'll reduce the power in the software. Alright guys, so the next thing I'm going to do is to connect the power cable as well as the USB, and turn on the laser. The fan will start blowing air and some light will light up here on top. Now we need to focus the laser. For that, we can use the calibration tower. We'll need to lower the laser head till it touches the aluminium tower with the protective cover removed, as you can see. Once we have it, we'll put the protective cover back in place, which will hold in place with its magnets. I'm actually going to lower it a little bit more. And here we go. Now from the software, we'll be able to move the axis by clicking these arrows on the bottom left corner. If we click here in the focus icon, the laser will light up and we'll be able to center our workspace. We're gonna do that later, but before I'm going to load our logo in PNG. I'm going to do it a bit fast since this video is getting way too long. We'll load the image, you can copy these settings and we'll click Next. Then we'll set these settings. The S max is the power of the laser. When I did the first testings, it was set by default to 1000 and I burned the table. This time I've set it to 300 and we'll see how it goes. For the size, I want to engrave the phone stand, so I'm gonna measure it. As you can see, we're limited by the height, that is 45mm. So I'll set the dimensions to 40mm and I'm going to center the image. Then we'll click on Create. This is the image generated and as you can see the origin is in the center. To make the test, I've drawn a 40x40 square and I'm going to use the focus feature to center it. Once done, I'm gonna click on Start Work and I'll see you in a little bit. As you can see, the image is quite burnt, so I'll reduce the power of the laser to 200 for the next test. Also, the actual size in our case is limited to the height of the logo, and as you can see, the height is no more than 30mm. That's why I'm gonna set the size of the image to 50mm this time and see how it works. So again, I'll center the 50x50mm square and start the work. As you can see, if we compare it to the job made before, this one has more grayscale graduation. So those are the settings we're going to use for the phone stand. Now I'm gonna raise the laser so the stand can fit underneath. Center the block in this point I marked and start the job one more time. Here we go, guys. Here we have our phone stand with our logo engraved on it. Let's check if it works, and as you can see, it fits perfectly.
I'm going to end the video here, guys, because it's getting very long. Nothing else to say, guys. Consider supporting my work on Patreon through the link in the description, as all these amazing people does. Hit the like button if you enjoyed with the video, and subscribe to the channel for more. Alright guys, so see you in the next video.